folks, this is the John Deere ZF variable combination transmission. It's power shift as well as manual shift. So these three solenoids here, this is the parking brake solenoid, this is the manual forward wheel drive solenoid, and this is the clutch disconnect solenoid. Alright, now let's get this all taken apart now.
This is the control case. You have the top cap, the bottom cap. You have solenoids in it, the forward, neutral, and reverse. You have spools directly under it that go inside the casing that helps direct the fluid. Right next to it, you have the modulation spools and spring that help control how much fluid is inside the case. The converter release spools. The converter release spools help regulate how much fluid is inside the converter case. You have directly underneath, you have a modulation spool which helps direct the fluid, and then you have the pressure regulator valve which regulates the pressure inside of the casing, and then you have the gasket to seal it all off.
So this is your shift accumulator valve, and how this works, if you want a faster shift, you need a softer spring, but it will not shift until the spring is fully charged up. And if you want a slower shift, you add more shims to it.
Right here you have your transmission pump and your converter housing. Now these two have to work together in order for your transmission pump to work. So you have here is your gear shaft, which goes right here into your transmission gears. That slides in there, allows this to turn to allow the flow of fluid to run through to the control valve. Now this converter has a overrunning clutch plate, and as you can see, it only turns one way, and you can't turn the other way. No matter how hard I try, pry bar, can't turn the other way. Let me turn that way. Now, when this is in here, connects to the pump, allows you to flow fluid around. And right here you have your ground shaft, seal and hold that gear shaft, the pressure clutch plate, and inside here, hear that, but that is your how much play you have for the gear to move around in once the transmission pump's engaged. Now obviously you have your standard bull ring, washer, and needle bearing, and that's it. That's all I got here.
Problems we see. The spring brakes, it shifts so fast, you're going to get whiplash. The nipple will break off the end. Another problem you have with the charge pump, this waller's out. I'll have no transmission pressure at all.
Yes.
So right here we have the converter housing. You're going to take it off. So right here we have the reverse gears. We have the forward one right here. This is first and second. This is third and fourth, and this is the MFWD gear. Now we're going to take it all apart.
Okay, as you can see, they took off the converter housing, cut off your gears and clutches. We're going to go a little more explanation, depth in intermediate shafts and the mechanical front wheel drive. So right here you have your intermediate shaft, which contains washers. You got your synchronizer rings. You got your collar, which your clutch forks sit in. You got needle bearings, so your gears can spin freely. Snap rings hold everything in place. You got your hub, which has these detention springs that go inside, and Jose will tell you a little bit more of those.
Yeah, actually, these detents and these springs are of great curiosity because they've been specifically engineered, you could say, so that when they are removed from this assembly, which they're held in by the synchronizer ring on the hub, they will actually fly out in 3 different directions and halfway across the shop.
So then you have your collar that's designed for the floodboard. And then you have your feeler gauge. And here it has to be underneath 24,000.
Okay, so today we're going to be taking apart the forward clutch pack. One of the things that you want to kind of test for before you start taking it apart, as you can see when I tip it, gravity kind of engages the clutch so this won't spin. And so in order to test it, you can kind of just bring that gear off the edge of the table. And you want this to spin freely. Now you can see this one is really tight, and so that's going to be adjusting back together. So on the reverse clutch pack, you can see it actually spins freely. And so that's how that's supposed to spin. So first thing we're going to do, we got to get this bearing off right here. Take the little bearing, and the bearing screw over that.
Good? No? Go. There we go. Just like that. So you're going to have a retainer clip here on top of the pressure plate. Now before you pull that, you're going to want to test the clearance on your clutch pack. And so to do that, you just have a dial indicator. We have it in a vise. Now for what you're working on, you're going to want to refer to the manual to find the specs on how much this should be. And so, let's see if we are in spec. So we're right at about 60. So that falls in our specs, so we're good there. Now we're good to take this retainer clip out. So screwdriver, start working around. Right out just like that, and then your whole clutch pack just slide right out of that. And when you put this back in, make sure that steel is the first thing that goes in.
Rate of shift, it would build, and then go to the end. I'm watching the accumulator trace in the shift. Goes up a little bit and then climb. Goes up a little bit, climb. Now it's going to go in the stall spot. So it's going to bring it up to high idle. We're going to put it into high gear, put it in gear, and we'll see how much our RPM drops. Hopefully you can hear the RPM change in the engine. So we went from 2,300 RPMs to 2,000 RPMs. So we dropped 300 RPMs when we went installed. So believe me, none of us are gonna I'll get nervous anyway. Walk around the shop and let the cafeteria.
Okay, she's gonna take a video. Okay, you're good.